The last part we spoke about how marketing is no more specialized role. It's more generalist, and that's holds very true for sales as well, right? And 2026, I think, is going to be the year of the SDR.
But the old structure where SDR books the meeting, AE runs the demo and the discovery, CSM comes in, does the renewal and expansion, I think that slowly will fade out. The best case scenario, for automation in the CRM was about automating lead assignment.
If you're an SDR and if you're still doing any of these tasks, you're actually exposing how brittle your job today is, to be very honest, right? Whole chain, there were 5 people, zero context, zero continuity, very little context, and each one is rattling out of the script. The biggest problem that an AE always had were
Morning, Ramesh.
Very good morning, Sri. How have you been?
I've been very good. How have you been?
Doing very well. Thank you. It's pouring for those in Chennai. It's pouring, literally cats and dogs. Heavy breeze, heavy storm. So isn't it the natural December beginning in Chennai?
I think November we didn't get. Probably was light on the rainy side. So I think December there's some catch up. But anyway, December is special in that sense for Chennai.
Correct.
But anyway, so how was the weekend? I think you've been pumped up. I think the moment I saw your message on the So we have we have a Slack. Not Slack. We have a WhatsApp group where Ramesh and I exchange the ideas for the pod. And I think Ramesh pumped up something in the morning and he said, "Hey, see, let's go on this, right?" But you got super excited.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Jason thinking like us or we thinking like Jason, but our thoughts do match. And looking at what we have, we talk about a lot of things that are changing in this podcast. We talk about how marketing is changing. We talk about how customers are buying, right, in this new AI era. The last part we spoke about how marketing is no more specialized role. It's more generalist, and that's holds very true for sales as well, right? And bang on, like Jason talks about it, as you can see. The $250K SDR role is coming, but it won't be remotely the same role as it was from 2000 or 2015. Why 2015 till even the 2020s, right? It's very different. The 250K SDR, in this case, what Jason says, will manage 10 plus SDRs, will truly be on the hook for 5 million. I'm talking about the really large scale deal of closed one. They will be pretty technical in nature and will follow up on every single prospect 24/7. Right? So see the way the SDR role itself is kind of now evolving, right? SDRs were all about, hey, meetings. Can I get 3 meetings? And you're paid on meetings. They had no idea what was happening till the end. You had many SDR specialized agencies who had, just to make those calls, right?
Correct.
All of that will see an end towards, unless your sales folks, your sales team is constantly thinking about closing. I think that's a big difference that we will see. And 2026, I think, is going to be the year of the SDR. What do you think, Sri?
Ramesh, if you think about it, I think I was just listening to like Elon pod as well in the morning. As well, very similar thoughts. In fact, people are talking about change of jobs, change of roles. I think what you're mentioning, I also saw that tweet after you picked it up, right? So I think it's very wild, but I think very true as well, right? I think the AI hasn't just changed the way you do outreach, but it has also changed the way the job itself. This is a very good example where the old structure, where, like you said, SDR booking the meeting, AE is running the discovery or the demos, the CSM handling the renewals and the expansion. That model was built when the world, where every task required a human. A lot of these things were done manually.
Yeah.
So that's the change. So when these things happen, Ramesh, the AI is coming in. AI is not replacing anybody, but the AI is basically automating some of the tasks. I think we have seen that in the last year or two. I think what is happening is that some of the tasks or the jobs to be done are being automated. That's what is happening. I'm not surprised, but the old structure where SDR books the meeting, AE runs the demo and the discovery, CSM comes and does the renewal and expansion, I think that slowly will fade out.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to move this coffee a little bit just to ensure we don't have, he's not repeating the same, spilling the coffee again for sales as well, because that's my role. But on the lighter note, I also want to tell, I think it's important to just not put down the SDR role as meetings, but I think there's a lot change, and it worked in the past.
Okay.
Right? Why the specialization worked is also important to note over here.
Okay.
Outreach was manual.
Okay.
You had to, and research was manual. You just had leads coming in. You still had no idea who Sri was, which company, is it legit, is it qualified to be the company, or is it this? It needs to be. Nothing was there. Everything was done manually, and therefore it's all about how much time you spend on the job. Okay. So the SDR role was there to spend that amount of time to qualify or disqualify an opportunity or not. Okay. Right? And you needed that roles. So it was carved such that it was in a factory line, right? One after the other. It was an assembly line. Hey, this lead, what is this lead? What is the revenue of the company? What's going on? And that happened, right? And
very, very interesting, Ramesh. If you try to step back and look at a couple of years back, I think we've been setting up CRMs and all of things, right? The best case scenario for automation in a CRM was about automating lead assignment, right? I mean, that's a world, correct? Couple of years back, right? Where you would fill a bunch of properties, and the automation was only intelligent. This was all so-called rule engines and AI powered the prediction models of the world.
Who could talk better?
Where the best case scenario was to basically assign a lead to an SDR or an AE automated in few hours. I think the world has changed drastically now, right? And more importantly, Ramesh, I think if you look at it, in the past, right? I'm talking about past, meaning like pre-2024 or 25, where the buyers also where they're okay with this kind of handoff, right? Where there is a new person coming in, for
very true,
for
because
discovery.
Their org was also set up like that.
Correct. But today I think because the alternate, those days were also very, very confusing, very chaotic, right? That's how it was, right? But today I think, like you clearly pointed out, the AA agents can research the account. Can of course, understand and learn about the signals, who are, the so-called, the hand raisers, right? And be able to write an email for them, do a personalized follow-up, automate all these, the CRM logging and qualify them, schedule them, and then maybe even drop basically an email or notification in Slack, right? So that's where we are today. So as the systems are evolving, as there's a kind of opportunity for AI system to orchestrate the manual things, including research, including qualification, which had involved thinking. Yeah. Right. Now, the end result is what you're saying.
Correct. So, right. I know Sri spoke about it very fast, and I want to reiterate some of the things that it talks about why specialized SDRs were important. He spoke about researching accounts. He spoke about scraping the right signals. Like, is this the one that you want to go behind, right? Write follow-up emails. The larger task was, hey, can I have to log in as a deal in the CRM? All of which that is being spoken about here can be done with an AI agent. So what does the SDR do then, right? So it's exposing. If you're an SDR and if you're still doing any of these tasks, you're actually exposing how brittle your job today is, to be very honest, right? If even one link in this chain is weak, like say the SDR, the AE, or the CSM, the entire deal loses momentum. So what it brings back to, how can you focus on the customer? How can an SDR keep thinking about closing deals? Is when you are a full stack SDR, right? Call it full stack SDR or an AE or a blend of both. But you've got to be thinking about this.
Correct. So, Ramesh, and if you look at the end of the day, right, the buyer doesn't care about your, the internal org structure.
No, they don't care. That's a nice one. Nice way to put it.
Yeah. They want to just, like one thing, they wanted somebody who understands their pain point and has the ability to give them a solution end to end. And if you look at today, the customers wanted that to be done at a shorter period of time.
Correct.
Right. So now I think that is another change happening as well. In the past, like you said, the customers also had the similar problems where they had multiple teams dealing with the customer. I think everybody's evolving, right? Expectation of customers also evolving.
Yeah.
So that is also another reason why I don't think we can do what we've been doing in the past.
Very true.
Right.
The time for everyone, the time to interact with with 5 other different people from a buyer's perspective is also shortened, right?
Okay.
You don't want to have that many conversations.
Okay.
Right? You were, like you rightly said, the buyer doesn't care about your org chart. Very well said. Because earlier you had an SDR who fixed the meeting, and then you had an AE who spoke about it. Then you had a technical person come and said how the product would work, more like a pre-sales. And then again it went back to the AE if there was any negotiation. And then it passed on to the CSM. Who cares? Right? It's all strong. So imagine in this whole chain, there were 5 people, zero context, zero continuity, very little context, and each one is rattling out of a script that has been given.
That's
so
also
how inefficient every
and also this whole thing went swing, Ramesh, right? It's a very one of your other favorite topic. It's just the SDR team swing from sales team to marketing and the last 10 years. Now I think it's coming back to sales teams, but I want to just ask you this, right? Let's say if there are SDRs, AE, the AEs who are looking at this podcast, right? What would you tell them? What is the new reality? Can we talk about that? What is the new reality?
Let's take the AE, because and then we'll come to the SDR, right?
Okay.
The AE is now full stack.
Okay.
In fact, you should be bothered about bringing in your own opportunities.
Okay.
So you have technology that can solve for it. You can make 300 calls in 30 minutes.
Okay, and if you can pass that, can you just elaborate, double click what do you mean by that? Because if somebody using a CRM, they have to call 100 times.
No, you don't need that, right? You have parallel dialers. Like there are many and each of them are getting much smarter than they were already, right? We use Nooks, phenomenal tool.
Okay.
So you have parallel dialers.
So how does it?
So you control your destiny. As an AE, you control. The biggest problem that an AE always had were the leads were bad.
Okay.
Because it was gotten in by an SDR.
Okay.
Imagine you have control over this. The AE today is able to make 300 calls because you have something called a parallel dialer.
Okay.
So you literally are prospecting. And imagine one step before this, a tool like Highperformr will give you the profile of the company and the people that you're speaking already. So there is a level of qualification that has already happened.
Okay, it's good quality.
Right?
Okay.
So let's assume those are acceptable leads because you know you're going to be speaking to the right person. You dial them, you start. So AE is now in control of the right phone numbers and everything. You prospect, you're qualifying / disqualifying super rapidly.
Okay.
You are running the discovery yourself.
Okay.
Sometimes you have the ability to even show the product. If it's as simple, if there is no integrations needed, you are able to kind of show the product and bring that in. Even if you have integrated a senior AE, you should be able to do that. You build the business case because you are super close to the customer's reality on how the tool will work.
Okay.
And when everything goes well, you're building relationship and you're closing.
Okay.
Entire thing. You own the control over the business and right? You have no reason to point fingers why the leads were bad or why the follow-up or the demo was poor. Right?
So Ramesh, understandable. I'm just thinking from an AE's point of view, right? Today, let's assume, I'm one of your AEs, right? I'm just thinking about it. Like, I think, of course, like AI takes out a lot of this, the
undoubtedly,
maybe does all the support work. What you're saying is that, but you're expecting me to be more hands-on.
Yeah.
That's what it means, right? What you're saying is that you wanted the AEs to do the outbound calling, right? And you're saying there are a lot of AI tools like one of the parallel dialers or whatever you want to call them. They help me be more efficient there, and hence the role which was done by somebody who was dedicated for calling at a scale is taken care of, is what you're saying.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, but then now tell me, now that this is taken over by the AEs, now then what happens about the SDRs?
I mean, hey, you don't have to be just the meeting factory.
Okay.
Right? You're a salesperson. You're a sales guy. You're a salesperson. All you need to do is earn the incentive. Okay. Why incentivize for booking meetings?
Okay.
When your AE says they are of poor quality. Then as a company, as a sales leader of sales, I'm trying to bridge the conflict between the SDR and AE. I'm constantly thinking who's a good AE versus who's a good SDR. I don't need to do that anymore. Okay. When I have a full stack seller, it's about creating your opportunity. And that's how selling was done in the non-tech, let's say the gritty industries. There was no salesperson who had another person call.
Call. Okay. So they would generate their leads and then would close them.
Absolutely.
You're saying we'll go back in time. So what
I'm saying we go ahead in time with what Jason also says of
the
250K SDR is a point in case. It will make sense. It does make sense, and you will see this happening.
So, Ramesh, I want to come back, on this new AE role.
It looks like Sri is not convinced.
Yeah. So I want to talk about a little bit about what is broken in the current AE, the SDR role. I think we've been trying this for like 1 year. We have seen this for like about a decade. It's evolved. I've never been a fan of having SDR in the marketing team. Right? It doesn't make any sense. And I'll tell you what's happening today. Right? There are three broken or gaps in the setup today. Right? One is a significant mismatch in the expectation. The SDR thinks the meeting is in progress.
Correct.
And I'll tell you, we have spoken to more than 100 plus SDRs. I think about last week we were trying to take a stock of how many SDRs we spoke. We were about more than 200 people we have been talking to, right? Invariably, the SDR thinks they have done a fantastic meeting. They've gotten a good meeting. AE sees the meeting is basically a crap, right? This is what, disqualified. So there is a mismatch. And this is a perennial problem between an SDR and AE. It keeps on happening, and the inefficiency kicks into systems. All of it happens. The second gap, the momentum is basically lost.
Absolutely.
Not even lost; it's dead, right? So the SDR holds the rapport. Suddenly, the SDR disappears. Then the AE has to start from scratch. We have seen that ourselves, right? The buyers, the buyer loses the energy. The momentum is lost there. Even a qualified leads, 30% of them get lost in the lack of momentum and lack of continuity to say.
Absolutely.
Then the SDR has no stake in the revenue, right? SDR optimizes for meeting booking, puts the meeting with anybody in the org, whether it's a buyer, does it have I was looking at a kind of a numbers report as well. The number of band qualified or whatever is your way to qualify
of success,
not even 30%, 20% actually qualify them in general, which means that SDR doesn't only optimize the number of meetings. The AE optimizes for revenue. There's a disconnect there. But these are two different games altogether. In fact, the rule of the game played by the SDR and AE has been different, and they were trying to play the game together.
Yeah.
Right? That is what is broken, what my sense is.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm trying to convince you on.
Okay.
There is no success in an SDR priding themselves on the number of meetings that they bring into the company. It doesn't help. One of them may click. And you must understand though, Sri, that sales is biased on recency. What's working now is exactly how an AI or an AE and an SDR will want to replicate the next month as well. But the next month doesn't happen the same way. So who do you blame then? Right? Just because you close 3 fintech doesn't mean the next month is going to be all fintechs. And that is where you make a mistake. But if the SDR is in control of qualifying, disqualifying, or the AE is in control automatically because of AI, you shrink that entire process.
Right?
So
I think the shift is real, Ramesh, no doubt. I think we're also seeing that. I think we're also seeing it among a lot of other SDR and, the SaaS teams, AE teams, where the roles are not disappearing. Right? People have not stopped hiring.
No, of course.
I think we are slowly getting to the place where all these roles will actually collapse. And use AI extensively to basically, be able to augment or be able to complement a lot of this research work, ability to prioritize, put an orchestration layer around them. Make sure that there is one role which is basically considered as full stack GTM or, like you said, full stack AE.
I love that term, Sri. Hold on, before you, I know you're itching to say something, because I think from a career perspective as well, right? The past teams divided progress of a salesperson. You came across as an SDR, and then a BDR, and then a junior AE, and then an AE, and then you went on, right? Now, that's not progress. That's just building on terms inside a company. But the progress for a sales guy or a salesperson is probably how many deals you're closing, how large a deals, how much money you're making, right? That's what you're exactly here for. And therefore, a GTM rep that you spoke about makes a lot more sense. Because as an SDR, I always want to see when am I going to become an AE. But in this case, when AI is actually contracting the entire process for you, you're a salesperson and you're a GTM rep. Right?
So, I mean, this is an evolution. This is a mind shift change among. I just wanted to pause there and see how it's also getting difficult to hire, in this role, what you're saying. I know you've been seeing success, in terms of hiring people who are willing to do the full stack GTM rep role, right? So what would you suggest kind of a new age or a person who's looking for a job, being a BDR and an AE, what should they do? How should they adapt to this change?
I think first it's a mindset game. It's a big shift, right? The lines that are dividing between AI and SDR or CSM, AE and all, they were built for a world where humans did most of the heavy lifting.
Correct. Manually.
Right? 2025, 2026, that logic breaks completely.
Okay.
Right? So instead of thinking about it as 5 or 6 fragmented roles in various areas, you need fewer people who can run this end to end. So I'm really not in a position to say what that name would be. A GTM rep sounds very small, very generic. And AE sounds, so you can continue calling them an AE. What's wrong? You are an account executive. You are, I will stick to a salesperson, right? But you become more capable. You have the propensity to start making enough money from day zero. You don't have to go through the qualification process of, am I a good SDR before I become an AE? Right? And I think that's a very important mindset shift that people need to get onto.
No, I think it's very similar to what, I would say product development had gone through, right?
There you go.
From front end, back end to a full stack. Right? I mean, I think it's pretty similar. Automation happened, kicked in, and a lot of framework, was there in the engineering side, product side to make it happen, right? I mean, similarly, there are tools, AI is happening. I think, it's interesting to understand, Ramesh, but the only thing is that, the mindset have to change among the sellers. I would say people, right? Where they believe that one person drives the whole end-to-end sales motion. I mean, that's an important belief everybody should have. I think the future is only for those people who can adapt to that change. Right? Even we are seeing that. I think, in fact, at Highperformr, every salesperson is a full stack seller.
Correct.
I mean, period. There is no other alternate option there, because we wanted to be ready for the future where the person he or she uses a lot of AI for orchestration required, less of manual work, more support given from AI, and the person is responsible to drive the entire selling.
Lovely. Right? Very well put, because you did bring in a point about recruitment. There you go. You did bring a point about recruitment, right? So we bought in folks from really good, whom we thought were phenomenal sellers, because the way they kind of spoke to their customers and stuff like that. We injected this whole virtue of becoming a full stack salesperson, but there was a lot of opposition from them. There was a lot of they didn't think of themselves like that. So on the other hand, we had junior folks who just said, "Hey, I'm a seller," and they are now able to look at it in wholesome. They are able to look at themselves as a full stack salesperson. So that specialized selling of, let me start by being an SD. If you're content being that, maybe 2026 could be your only year that you could remain like that. But 2027 is going to be very different, right?
So I think if you want to just get to closing, Ramesh, I think I want to come to a point where you summarize. I mean, you spoke about multiple things. You have given clarity. In fact, I can, if you want to summarize what Ramesh is trying to communicate, which I also totally agree, right? Where we've been doing this for like about, let's say, 200 years, maybe 100 years, maybe, right? 50 to 100 years, right? Where you basically telephone operators, typists, you call, you basically book meetings. This has been happening, and in the last 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, SDR task has become more into research, logging, qualifying. All of them has been now automated end to end. Now, the AE used to, would aspire to move, kind of move up market, starting from SMB, move up market, right? Now, I just wanted to kind of conclude, right? Of course, the jobs are not being taken away. The AI is killing the task which people were doing. So people have to adapt. Now, if you have to give a quick summary for people, both in terms of people who are trying to adapt this trend, also people who are hiring and developing to how do you think we should look at it?
There is a little bit of uncomfortable truth that we need to all adhere and understand, right? So AI is not replacing the jobs that we said. AI, it's replacing parts of the jobs that reps were hired to do. In this case, it was the SDR. Right? And those who will survive
Okay.
are not people who think of themselves as let me start my job as an SDR or an AE. But you have to wear this hat of saying, I'm a full stack salesperson. I'm a seller.
Okay.
And when you do that, you possess this magic like quality of saying, hey, I have control of who I'm speaking to. I have control of who I need to speak to in the company.
Okay.
I can multi-thread. I can show them what the product looks like as well, what they like, what they don't like.
Okay.
And I can close or I can disqualify. Hey, that's supreme powers that you have. You're not relying on your neighbor to say, hey, there is this call, why don't you come and give a demo?
Okay.
Right?
Or do the discovery. Okay.
Or the discovery for that matter.
Okay.
Right. So I think that's the uncomfortable truth. It does take a little more nuanced thinking, putting yourself one level above from where you're already operating to say, I'm a full stack seller. And that is going to reap a lot of benefits for you as a seller. Earn more money, man.
Okay. So that's the, I would say the summary there, get ready. If you're a seller in the market, I think, looking for SDR AE role, I think get ready to embrace the full stack selling.
Embrace. Yeah, absolutely.
Embrace full stack selling, end to end, be more hands-on, I think you should know how to qualify and lead, how to source your leads, how to source your opportunity, qualify them, and, be able to close them as well. I mean, that's the change, right? And this is great. I think, Ramesh, I think let's see how it goes. Maybe we're going to closely watch it.
Yeah.
Right?
All the best to all the sellers. Your last month in the year, go for it. Sell. Try to be a full stack seller, and you will see what's in store for 2026. See you on the other side.
Sure. Thank you.